Hi, this is Simon from HomeKit News, and today we're looking at the Terncy Smart Roller Blind Motor, a HomeKit compatible device that can make your blinds smart. Sort of. Let's have a look. So some of you might be happy to know there's actually no unboxing on this occasion due to the product being a prototype unit sent to me for testing. So let's get straight into the device itself. The Smart Roller Blind motor is exactly that. It's a motor that can control roller blinds. Essentially, the motor sits inside a roller blind tube, and when it turns, so do the blinds. Quite simple in practice. You'll notice three cables coming out of one side of the motor. Now, the first of these connects to a Zigbee transceiver, which you can see in the corner there, so it can communicate with a hub. Although I've been told by the company that the final model will have the Zigbee module built into the device itself. As this motor uses Zigbee, like all Terncy devices, it does require the company's own hub, the home center as it's called, so that you can communicate with the device and other devices whilst also getting the motor exposed to HomeKit. The second cable is also redundant, as this was originally designed to connect to a manual controller, so the final model won't have this cable. The last of the three cables, as you may have guessed by now, is to power the device. Now, I'm not sure whether the final version will come with a plug or not, but as it has three wires, you're going to need to connect it to a Type B plug suitable for North America. As already stated, the motor sits inside the tube for the blinds. The tube itself has a sort of an indent running along its length, with the motor having two plastic cogs that have a corresponding gap that matches the indent. So in the infographic here you can see a representation of the blind tube in profile and the blinds connected to the tube below that. Here the motor slots inside the tube, and then when the motor turns, so do the blinds. Very straightforward. Xiaoyan provided the motor, but they also provided a set of blinds to make it easier for me to test, and here are the blinds they provided. Now, the tube for the blinds is probably larger than some tubes you might find, but aside from that, it is a standard 50mm or 1.97 inch tube, nothing special at all. Now, just to demonstrate that the tube and the motor fitting together in a real world situation is possible, you can see the motor sits inside the tube quite easily. You can also see that the end of the blinds comes with a weighted aluminium strip that keeps the blinds taut, which you'll find on most roller blinds. Moving on to the initial setup, and this has to be done in the company's own Terncy app. So first of all, you have to add the powered up smart blinds to the hub by pressing on the pairing button. Once it's discovered, it'll appear as a new device, so then you should name the device and then add it to a room. The motor can be set up with the blinds rolling up and down in a rearward position or to the front, so the app allows you to determine which way it has been set up, so that when you press up it doesn't instead go down. You simply press the up arrow on the screen, and if the blinds go down, then you select reverse direction. Once that's done, you need to set the upper and lower limits for these blinds. This is so that the blinds don't go past the fully open position or start gathering on the floor. In this instance, I've already got the blinds fully open, so I just simply click on the Arrived Full Open Position button, so that the app knows the blinds are at the fully opened limit. I then simply do the same for the fully closed position by pressing the down button until I'm happy with the level the blinds are set at when the blinds are fully closed. So we're all done now with the Terncy app for the time being, so with that all set up, you can now simply hop over to the Apple Home app and the blinds will appear as a new device on your favourite screen. Unfortunately, even though you've named the device and added it to a room in the Terncy app, you still need to rename the device and add it to a room in the Home app. Now, I don't know why this is, but it could be to do with devices that also work with Google and Amazon. Now, due to the different types of blinds HomeKit can accommodate, you can also choose the icon for the type of blinds you have, and obviously in this case I'm going with the roller blind icon. Terncy also make a device called the Smart Dial, which is HomeKit compatible and is also designed to work with the roller blinds, as well as a few other devices including Sonos speakers, for example. Now, at present I'm just using it for the smart blinds, although I can use it to control other HomeKit devices if I wish. Now, the Smart Dial can be controlled with a single or double click, but as the name would imply, it's also a dial, so you can turn it, which makes it quite versatile. The rotary dial is endless, so you can keep turning without it coming to a stop, but it should be noted that the dial functionality isn't exposed to HomeKit, however, just the single and double click actions. I'll now just show you how well the dial works with the smart blinds and how responsive they are. Just so you know, the video has not been manipulated regarding timing, so when you see me press the dial, the blinds do react this quickly. So first off, as you can see, with the blinds fully open, a single press of the smart dial will make the blinds start to close. If I single press the dial again, the blinds will simply go in the opposite direction. If I double press the dial, the blinds will stop, regardless of which direction they're going in. If I then single press the dial again, the blinds will continue in the opposite direction to the one it was going in before it was initially stopped. When it comes to the rotary dial controls, these are fixed, so an anti-clockwise turn of the dial will make the blinds go in the closed direction. The amount by which the blinds close is relative to the amount by which you turn the dial. Turning the dial clockwise will of course make the blinds open in exactly the same way. The dial itself has some form of gear functionality inside, so when you turn the dial you can feel individual clicks as you turn it. Now this means you can adjust the blinds in small amounts with just a single turn or click, if you will. So in this case I'm adjusting the blinds with a single click movement. Now before these blinds I didn't really own any other smart blinds, so I can't really attest to how quickly other smart blinds react with a remote wireless button, but in these tests I was actually quite impressed as to how quickly the blinds reacted once I pressed the dial. Now this is partly due to the dial and the blinds communicating directly with each other via the Terncy app, so it doesn't have to first go through HomeKit in this case. This doesn't mean you can't control the smart blinds in HomeKit, of course, as I'll demonstrate now. Here are the smart blinds in the Home app, and by long pressing the tile you get to the settings section where you can see the slider as well as other details for the blinds. To close the open blinds you simply press the tile and they'll start closing. In much the same way that the smart dial works, pressing the tile again makes the blinds go in the opposite direction. In order for you to close or open the blinds by a certain amount, you have to long press on the tile where you can adjust the amount by which the blinds are open or closed by adjusting the slider. Now I've had these blinds since January, so around 3, nearly 4 months, and I am very happy with them. But before I go into any of the pros and cons, here are some of the basic details for the product. It uses mains power, so there's no battery to worry about recharging. It's suitable for North American standards. It uses Zigbee for communication. Xiaoyan have said they aim to offer a choice of either just the motor or the motor with some custom blinds. HomeKit compatible via the Terncy Home Center, and it can be controlled via the Home app or via the Terncy Smart Dial. Now let's look at some of the pros and cons. So in terms of the pros, unlike the Akara version of this product, which is only suitable for 220 to 240 volts, this is designed to work with 110 to 120 volt regions. The option to buy just the motor allows you to source your own tube, blind material and even the blind width. It's officially HomeKit compatible via the Terncy Home Center. It uses Zigbee for fast and efficient control via the app, via the smart dial or even via any HomeKit button or switch. Now in terms of the cons, it does use mains power, so a nearby power outlet is required, which could be an issue for some people. It doesn't come with a wired controller, which means it can't be manually controlled. And finally, probably not the quietest of motors, but seeing as I've not really had much experience with other devices, I can't really say if it's too loud or too quiet, but it's certainly not too loud for me. As always, this is just an overview of the product, so for a more in-depth review, do head over to homekitnews.com. Thanks again and see you soon. Bye bye.